Hey guys, it's Raul again, and today I'll be sharing with you my March wrap-up. So in the month of March, I participated in March Mystery Madness, and for March Mystery Madness, I ended up completing 6 books, which I am super excited about. For those of you who don't know, March Mystery Madness is a readathon that took place throughout the entire month of March, and we just read mysteries and everything. I will link my original video for my TBR down below that talks about the challenges and everything, so if you guys want to hear more about the challenges and what I was reading for each challenge, you guys can check that video out down below. There was only one book from that original TBR that I ended up not actually getting to, but there are 2 other books that weren't on my original TBR that I was able to read throughout March, so I'm really happy with the amount of reading that I was able to get done throughout March. Super excited. Like I said, I completed 6 books, and I'm just going to go ahead and talk to you guys very quickly on all of my feelings on these books because I read some really great mysteries in March. Now, the first book I completed in March was Daughter of Deep Silence by Carrie Ryan. Now, this is a YA mystery thriller that follows our main character, Frances, who is caught up in this attack on this big boat that she's in, this big cruise ship. Her and her friends and her family are on vacation, and this boat gets attacked, and every single person on this cruise ship gets killed, except for Frances and her friend Libby and a senator and the senator's son. So they're the only survivors from this attack on this boat. Her friend Libby ends up dying on the kind of life raft that they're on after this attack. And she's kind of told to assume Libby's identity to kind of try and figure things out of what's going on, because 4 years later, the senator and his son are saying that everyone on this boat died because of a rogue wave, and they're kind of keeping this whole attack under wraps, and Frances is trying to kind of figure out why these 2 people are trying to keep everything a secret, why they're lying about this attack, and why having it been such a huge impacting event, they're wanting to keep it out of the public eye. So this is kind of what this story follows, is Frances assuming Libby's identity and infiltrating kind of this family 4 years later and trying to figure out why they're lying about this entire thing. It's a really fun book. It kind of gave me vibes of that show Revenge, if you guys have watched Revenge, where you have this kind of person assuming somebody else's identity to kind of infiltrate this family and everything. And I thought it was pretty well done. It was fun for, of the majority of the time throughout the book. Very early on, I got absorbed into this book very quickly from chapter 1, and throughout the entire thing I was just absolutely hooked. About 3/4 of the way through or so, I wasn't really a big fan of how things were playing out and the reasonings why these things were being kept secrets, and just the big reveal and everything was just a little bit of a letdown for me, which is why I ended up not loving it as much as I wanted to originally. But I feel like it is definitely a solid mystery. I ended up giving this about a 3 out of 5 stars or so, but I'm glad I finally ended up reading this one, because this book was also on my 12 books I wanted to read in 2019 list, so I'm glad I got another book out of the way for that list, and I'm just glad I was finally able to read it. I also completed Lies You Never Told Me by Jennifer Donaldson in the month of March. This follows 2 main perspectives. Originally, what I thought is that it followed 4 main perspectives, because on the back of the book, there are 4 different names on the back, so I assumed it had 4 POVs, but it's only 2. And it follows our 2 main characters, Gabe and Elise, and there's 2 distinct stories. And these 2 stories are seemingly 2 separate stories. You have Gabe, who is kind of trying to fight off this weird ex-girlfriend that's very jealous. There's this new girl in town named Catherine, who he's kind of starting to have a thing for, but this crazy ex-girlfriend is kind of like trying to frame him for certain things that are going on. And then we have Elise, who is slowly falling in love with her teacher. I know a lot of people are probably sensitive or don't like this whole student-teacher kind of thing, but I enjoyed the way that they did it in this book, because they did do it in a way where they didn't romanticize it, to bring awareness to how toxic a relationship like this can be. So you have Elise falling in love with her drama teacher, and kind of everything, the chaos that ensues with this kind of romance that's going on, this forbidden love that's going on within their storyline. And as you continue reading the book, you can kind of see how these 2 stories end up kind of intertwining. I thought it was really interesting how this author ended up making these 2 stories and writing out these 2 stories and letting them play out, because it was really different. It's not what you were expecting, definitely not what I was expecting at all. I mean, about 200 pages or so in, I kind of guessed what was going on, but I was still really satisfied at how the author allowed these things to play out. Even though it was a little bit predictable, I enjoyed the way the author did it. So I really enjoyed Jennifer Donaldson's writing style. I really enjoyed how she ended up playing out with the story and everything. And I gave this one about a 3.5 stars or so. I also read There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins. This is a book I feel like a lot of people on BookTube are aware of because a lot of people enjoy Stephanie Perkins. And Stephanie Perkins is known for her YA contemporaries and cute fluffy love stories with Anne and the French Kiss and that kind of thing. But when she announced that she was writing kind of a slasher YA thriller, a lot of people were curious. My interest was definitely perked when I heard about this story because I absolutely love slasher movies. I love Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer and all these things. I feel like I grew up with these kinds of movies and I absolutely love them. So this is definitely a book that I've been wanting to read for a long time, and it follows our main character Makani as she's kind of, trying to live out through high school, and then there's this killer on the loose killing all of, a lot of different kids from her class and friends, and it's wonderful. I absolutely love it for a slasher fan. This is definitely something that I ended up really, really enjoying. I loved the character development in this one. I've read other YA thrillers that are kind of like in this slasher genre, and they don't take their time to develop the characters as much because they're focusing more on the plot. And I enjoyed that Stephanie Perkins in this one kind of gave a really good balance with plot development and character development. She gave us enough character development and backstory for us to care about the characters and actually care when they were being terrorized by this killer and being chased through, woods and houses and all of this other stuff. It's very tropey, but I feel like Stephanie Perkins did this on purpose to kind of play on these horror genre tropes that I honestly really, really enjoyed. I love these horror tropes. I love the way Stephanie Perkins kind of took it and did this small twist in there. I wasn't a fan of the outcome, but I enjoyed it enough to not let it, kind of ruin my enjoyment throughout the whole thing because I thought this was a really, really, really fun book. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. If you guys enjoy slasher movies and you guys are a fan of thrillers and stuff, I definitely recommend this one because I thought it was a really, really fun read that doesn't take itself seriously and it's just there for just like pure enjoyment. And then the next 3 books that I read were all from the same author because this month I discovered B.A. Paris, and I actually ended up reading all 3 of her novels that are out now. The first one I read of hers was Behind Closed Doors, and this follows a married couple who are seemingly happy on the outside but have very dark secrets on the inside. I'm going to give a vague synopsis on all of her books because I went into all of these blindly and it just made me enjoy them that much more. So this one, like I said, follows this marriage and these dark secrets that they're keeping. The husband isn't, who he seems, and it's just absolutely terrifying to see these things play out and the secrets that this husband is keeping and how he's acting toward his wife. It's just absolutely intense and absolutely brutal. I have never hated someone in a book as much as I hated this character. Like, he was just horrible, an absolutely terrible person, and I've never wanted someone to be stabbed as much as I wanted him to get stabbed, and it played out so well, and the ending was just so satisfying, and I was just addicted from the very beginning with this book. I love B.A. Paris's writing. I love how she can tell a story. I love how engaging and how addicting her writing can be. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars, if you guys can't tell, with all of my gushing that I'm doing in this video with this book. Yes, B.A. Paris was absolutely wonderful. I absolutely loved this book so much. And then I picked up Bring Me Back by B.A. Paris. And this follows our main character, Finn, who is in love with this girl named Layla. Layla one day just disappears and never comes back. 12 years later, he begins to get these messages and emails and stuff about someone who apparently is Layla. At this point, she's kind of been, declared dead. Nobody thinks she's coming back, but then he starts getting these messages and these emails of somebody that claims to be Layla, and this whole mystery ensuing throughout this entire thing because he believes that it's somebody else playing a joke. He can't really believe it's Layla, but in some way really wants to believe that it could be Layla, the love of his life, actually coming back. And it's super creepy and really weird the way things play out. I didn't really love this one as much as I did Behind Closed Doors, but I feel like it was equally as addicting as Behind Closed Doors. Again, it's B.A. Paris. I love her writing. I love the way that she tells stories. And in the end with this one, I didn't love it as much because I didn't enjoy the ending as much and the way things played out specifically in this book because I don't know. I still gave it a 3.5 stars or so because I still really, really enjoyed it and I still thought it was really addicting. but the way things play out with Layla and Finn and, you know, this whole mystery going on between the two of them, it's just, it wasn't as satisfying as I wanted it to be, but still really enjoyed this story. And then I finally read The Breakdown by B.A. Paris. This one follows our main character named Cass, who is involved somewhat in a murder. I mean, I don't really want to say too much what her involvement is in the murder. I mean, they tell you very quickly. So if you start reading this book, you'll know very quickly what her involvement is in this murder. And it's mainly Cass's story and her mental breakdown of, you know, that happened after these events of this murder and everything, and how she's connected to the whole thing. You're throughout the entire novel, you're trying to figure out if she's truly being harassed by this killer or if she really is suffering from early onset dementia. And it's just like throughout the entire thing, you're just going back and forth with this whole thing, because this definitely kept me guessing. I just wasn't sure what was going on. I wasn't sure if it was true or not. You know, if she was the one going through things, if this was all mental, or if this was just a whole plan of this killer. And I just absolutely ended up loving this one as much as I did Behind Closed Doors. I give this one another 5 out of 5 stars, because again, B.A. Paris's writing was just super engaging, very addicting. This was another mystery that I was literally hooked from chapter 1. And I absolutely loved it. I loved how it played out. And even when I kind of saw things coming, there were still extra little twists and turns in there that I didn't see coming at all. And I really ended up loving this one. Again, B.A. Paris has become one of my auto-buy authors now. I'm glad I read all of her novels in March. And I will forever read anything that comes out by B.A. Paris at this point, because I absolutely ended up loving her as an author. So yeah, guys, that is it for all of the books that I read in March and the books that I read for March Mystery Madness. Comment down below and let me know if you guys have read any of these. If you guys participated in March Mystery Madness and you guys made videos or anything or wrap-ups, please let me know. I would love to check out what you guys have read in March for March Mystery Madness. Thank you guys all again for watching, and I will see you all next time.